So, welcome to another edition of Michelle Speaks. If you hide it, you can't heal it. I am Michelle Portier, the host of the hour. And I just want to start off by saying that sometimes we have some technical difficulties, so we're having some challenges, but stand by because you don't want to miss our guest for today. Okay, so let's try this again. As you all know, sometimes we do have technical difficulties, and so we had that today, but that is okay. We are still going to move forward. So I am Michelle of Michelle Speaks. If you hide it, you can't heal it. I am Michelle Portier, the host of the hour, and today we are going to have a phenomenal time with a very special guest and a dear friend and fellow believer in Christ. So today, you all know that the thing behind Michelle Speaks is that we like to highlight those that have encountered tragedies and adversities and have experienced that, but they've turned those adversities into victories, and they've now turned around and created platforms, services, and things that they do to create positive, impactful change within their communities. And so today is just another segment of that. Before we get started, I wanted to give you a little bit of a background about some of the statistics surrounding the topic that we're going to talk about today, which is the 5 steps to manhood. And so as of 2017, according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, there are about 475,900 African American men that are currently incarcerated within federal and state prisons. And additionally, further studies indicate that of those incarcerated, upon their release, the loss of earning potential for them is about 2.7 million nationwide. And the recidivism rate, which is higher among African American males than other males during a controlled study indicates. So I share all of that as a segue as to why you're going to have so much value from this phenomenal guest that we have today. And so you all know me, so it's time for me to turn it over to my very special guest, Mr. Baron Warren. So thank you so much, Baron, for agreeing to come on and share with us your insights, your thoughts, your information regarding how we can avoid, eliminate, or diminish the number of African Americans that are incarcerated, and that it ends and begins in the home. So thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I want to make sure you can hear me clearly. Can you hear me clearly, Miss Michelle? Can you hear
I
me
can
loud and
hear
clear?
you. I can hear you. You sound a little bit low, but I can hear you.
Okay. We're still going to move forward. I know we was having, like you said earlier, some technical difficulties, but I'm going to speak with my big commanding voice so we can push through. But I'm so happy to be here, and I think it's kind of cute of us that we matching today, Miss Michelle. We got our red
Right?
on today, so we
Great
already
minds
starting off
think
looking
alike.
good. But I'm so happy to be here. My name is Baron Warren. I'm a national motivational speaker and published author and life coach. But outside of that, I am just really passionate about helping males grow to be strong men of integrity. That's what I wake up and think about every single day. That's what I think about when I'm trying to identify and find a population of males I can pour into. And I just personally believe that it's going to take strong men of integrity to lead our families, our country, this world to greatness. So that's what I do, Michelle. Every single
Right, right,
day,
right.
I want to
So,
help males grow to be men of integrity.
so for those that are listening in, that's a little snippet of who Baron Warren is, but we're going to get right into a little bit more, just dig right in. But before that, I wanted to share with you, for those that are tuning in, if you ask questions, you have an opportunity to receive a free copy of Mr. Barron's book. If you want to hold it up, The Five
Absolutely.
Steps to Manhood. And also, if you share this post, you have the opportunity to receive an inspirational tee from Michelle Speaks, with the caption Adapt and Overcome. So make sure, if you're tuning in, if you have questions, go ahead and post them in the comment section. And if you share this video, you have an opportunity to get a free shirt or hoodie. So without further ado, Mr. Barron, I've had the opportunity to have numerous conversations with you, and we just connected on a level because I read your book and I was so touched and inspired by it.
Thank you.
So for those that are tuning in, tell us, who is Baron Warren, personally, professionally, and spiritually?
Absolutely. And I will say I love getting asked that question. So, Baron Warren, personally, I'm a father, Michelle. I'm a proud dad. I'm a strong believer in Christ. And I consider myself to be a strong man of integrity personally. Professionally, I'm a life coach and I'm a motivational speaker and I'm an
Mm-hmm.
author as of this year with my first book that we'll discuss later on today. And outside of all those things spiritually, uh, most importantly is that I'm a true believer in Jesus Christ. He's the head of my life. I get up and try to spend time with him every single day, and it's my belief that that's the best way every man should wake up if he want to be successful throughout his life. So those are the big threes for me, Miss Michelle.
Okay. So thank you so much. And thank you for your service. Thank you for all that you're doing in the community now, especially to help our youth and our African American youth and the young males that didn't have any role models. And I know, the spectrum of the men that you reach, I'm sure, runs the gamut. But thank you for taking the challenge and the charge to do it, because we truly need it. And so,
Thank
with
you.
that being said, what led you on this path that you're currently on?
Yeah, so it was pretty much a combination of things that I experienced in my life. After I graduated high school, I joined the United States military. After I did 8 years honorably in the military, I became a correctional officer for the state of Michigan. And
Okay.
in those two areas, being in the Navy, working inside the prison system, I began to develop just a passion to helping males grow. So I
Okay.
wanted to use my life experience, my experience professionally in the prison system to try to pour into men and to
Right.
keep them away from a life of mediocrity. So that's pretty
Right.
much where my background comes from, the U.S.
Okay.
Navy and inside the prison system.
Okay. And so you said your life experiences. Did you encounter any personal experiences without having that role model? Because a lot of times when we find our passion and we begin to pursue, it's because of something, it's an event that caused us to go down that path.
Yeah, and if I could just be bold and blunt for a second, just being a knucklehead kid, Michelle, growing up, that's the short version of my experience.
Right.
I'm sure a lot of young men or older men that are watching today, they can relate and identify what I'm getting ready to say. Um, Being irresponsible, doing poorly in school, womanizing and experimenting with drugs. Yes, I did all those things early
Right.
on and made a lot of mistakes. But I tell you, Michelle, once I joined the military has a way of fixing you quick. So they fixed me,
Well,
they cleaned me up real quick. It didn't take long. So I'm very thankful for that. But yeah, a very typical
right.
standard story of a young black man growing up in the hood, making poor decisions, Michelle. But it took some
Okay.
strong men to come in my life to get me together.
And at what point and stage in your life and your growing up did those men come in? Was it after you joined the military or prior to?
Yeah, well, a little bit of both, actually. My
Okay.
mother, Christine Holly, bless her heart, she might even be watching. She scraped up a couple of dollars and put me in a private Christian school.
Okay.
So that's what started the journey. And that was great. Still have a lot of people who I associate with today. But right around 18, 19, when I made it through school and joined the military made it clear to me they wasn't my parents. They wasn't some Christian school. They were some strong men who
Right.
held me accountable as a man. So
Right.
that was the life-changing moment when I had a strong man of integrity in my face holding me
Hmm.
accountable for my actions. And
Right.
that's what started my journey to manhood.
Right. And so you target, I know you target youth, but you target those that are incarcerated. And why is that? Is that because of your experiences as a correctional officer? And what are some of those experiences that you've had?
Yeah, the main reason, Michelle, the reason why uh, have identified that population and my heart is so big for it because they are a forgotten population. There's a
Okay.
lot of men and women, for that matter, are doing time behind the wall. And initially when people first go to prison, they get a lot of support. Family is writing them, they checking on them, they putting money on their books. But after a little bit of time, Michelle, about 2 years, 3 years, and for the men who have done serious time, 5, 10 years, family don't reach out as much. The
Hmm.
programming don't be involved with them that much. So they become a forgotten population, kind of that old saying, out of sight, out of mind, if you will.
Right. Right.
So working as an employee in the system, I was able to see that. And my heart started to grow for that population because here's my belief, Michelle, those men still can be of value to the world. They still have a gift that they can offer the world. They just need somebody to help them out. So that's where my passion come in for those guys.
Okay. Okay. Good deal. So what are some of the challenges, Baron, that you run into addressing or meeting the needs of those young men in the underserved communities and those vulnerable populations?
Yeah, you know what? That's an interesting question, Michelle, because believe it or not, males inside the prison, males inside of the school system, 15 years old, 65 years old. I kind of run into almost the same problem, and that problem is I'm not good enough. I'm not qualified. I didn't do well
Right.
in school. I have nothing to offer. Society and the community and the government is against me. I get that a lot, Michelle, and I try my best to use my life story as an example for those men. I faced a lot of those same problems growing up poor,
Right.
not doing well in school, and a black man in America. I
Hmm.
have similar things that happened to me in my life, but I try to remind them, hey, if Baron Warren can get it together, if Baron Warren can find out his gift and find out how it can be valuable to society, then you can too, Mr. Smith, Mr. Jones, and let me show you how to do that.
Right. Right. And in doing that, this is just my thought process. The younger that we can reach them and connect with them and get them paired with a strong, positive male role model, then the quicker then we can decrease the odds or the chances of them becoming incarcerated. And
Yeah.
so I'm just so grateful that I was able to cross your path to see the impact that you've created. I've followed you for quite a bit, and I see the growth, and I see the lives that you're touching, not just the men, the youth, but the mothers, they're taking care of their young boy, trying to raise young men, the cousins, the spouses, that have either sons or husbands or both incarcerated. And so that's a big charge that you've taken on. So again, I just commend you.
Thank you.
Um, I know you mentioned a little bit about society being against our African American men, males, and youth. And so with this concurrent, the pandemics that we're currently in, not only the COVID, but also, we had some challenges because of the George Floyd thing that just flared up, the issues with systemic racism and things like that. Has that impacted how you've been able to impact and reach um, African American men as well as our youth?
Yeah, well, to answer that question, Michelle, I'll give a quick, short story. I actually
Yeah.
went to Houston earlier this year during the pandemic. I want to say right around June. And for your viewers who may not be aware, that's where Mr. George Floyd was from. He was from Houston, Texas,
Okay.
although he died tragically up north in, I think, Minnesota area.
Right.
But he was from Houston, and I got a chance to walk his neighborhood, and I got a chance to actually meet some of his friends and take a picture in front of the big mural that they have for him at his apartment area where he stayed and grew up at. So, saying all that to say, Miss Michelle, I found out right then and there that there are a lot of young black men who feel very hopeless. They feel like,
Mm,
wow, I just can't get a break. No one is giving me a chance. No one will even allow me to even make a mistake sometimes. I gotta almost walk around here perfect without my life being at risk. So
hmm.
looking in the eyes of those young men, the friends of George Floyd, and some of the residents that knew him personally, there was a lot of anger there. So that being the case, typically with a lot of people, not just black folks, when you get angry, you start making poor decisions. You start
Right.
do drugs and getting high. You start forgetting about going to work. You start being abusive. You just start spiraling down a dark path.
Right.
So
Right.
again, Michelle, I came there to Houston and everywhere else I go to remind males there is greatness inside of you. No matter what's
Hmm.
going on in the world, God has still given you a gift and a purpose, and it's your job to find out what that is so you can be valuable to your society and so you can be
Right.
valuable to your home. So it's a lot of black men that are angry, Miss Michelle, and I want to remind them there's no need to be angry. Turn that anger into something positive so you can go out there and lead your family to greatness.
Right. Right. Just channel it. Use that anger to channel it into something positive. I love that. I love that. I love
Absolutely.
you sharing that. And so I wanted to ask you because I know that you have a cuts in coaching. Can you share with us a little bit about what that is and how that came to be?
Absolutely. And Michelle, just I want to say this in red lights. That's why I got my red shirt on. That's why we in red today. We want to make some big announcements. I want
Right.
every man that's listening to this. It's very important for every male transition to manhood that he gets some type of trade. I believe that. So you can
Hmm.
always fall back on something. And the reason why I believe that, Michelle, because when I was in the Navy, they taught me how to cut hair. So
Hmm.
if all else fails, Michelle, if I lose my speaking voice and I can't write anymore, I can pick up a pair of clippers and I can cut some heads and I can take
Okay.
care of my family.
Got
But
you.
in addition to learning that trade, Michelle, to answer your question, I learned not only did I have a gift for hair cutting, but I had a gift for communicating, a gift for
Hmm.
inspiring, a gift for life coaching and counseling. So I asked the Lord about it, and I asked him, Lord, I want to combine that experience. I not only
Hmm.
want males to look good on the outside with a nice haircut, which is important, but I want them to
Right.
feel good on the inside. I want to groom males for the mind and the body. So I created
Exactly.
a company called Cuts and Coaching so we can accomplish that goal. Absolutely.
I love that. I love that because no matter how much you dress up and clean up the outside, if you don't deal with that internal, you know,
That's right.
right,
Absolutely.
right. So has that given you the opportunity to cuts and coaching to connect and get into some of the organizations that you have access to? Was that how you were able to get in to begin to share your message and to connect with your community?
Absolutely. That's primarily how I wiggle my way inside the prison system or in the school system. And
Okay.
I personally don't do much hair cutting anymore. God have
Hmm.
allowed me to hire people and have a team of guys that come in with me. So just to give you an example, I might do a workshop at a school here in
Hmm.
Detroit where I'm at, or at a prison around the area, and I'll bring 3 or 4 barbers with me, Michelle. So the barbers can clean up the young men, having them
Right.
look good, dressing them up, and then I go in there and make them feel good by providing impactful life coaching, personal development training for them. Yeah.
Right. Right. Awesome. So you have them to clean them up on the outside and you address the hopelessness.
There we go. And it's
I
win
love
win.
it.
I tell you, it's nothing. I gotta say this for everybody out there watching. It's really nice to get a nice haircut. You know, the barbershop has became a country club for black men. So that's a great
Hmm.
experience. But you know, they get that haircut, Michelle, but they still gotta walk outside the door. And reality still is going to take place. They still got to go get a good job. They still have to be respectful to their wives and children. They still have to go home and do their homework or whatever season they're in their life. And that's why working on that heart is so important. Getting a haircut
Hmm.
is fine, which I highly recommend, but that heart has to be cleaned up as well. So that's what
Right.
I'm most passionate about. I want males, excuse me, I want males to understand the only way you can be a man is to be a man of high integrity. So that's what I
Hmm.
do, Miss Michelle.
Wow. So what is some of the most common challenges that you hear from the youth or even the older males that that you reached out to? What are some of the common things that you hear that are their greatest challenges?
What are the most common? Well, I'll go here. You know, if we can, if I could throw a curveball a little bit. Almost every day, and I mean this literally, Miss Michelle, I might get a email or a phone call from a mother who
Hmm.
says, Baron, I need some help. My son is in trouble. He is on his way to jail. He's getting high, smoking marijuana or something like that. I get those emails and calls almost every day, or even from a school principal.
Hmm.
And my response is always, uh, where's his father? First, that's my
Hmm.
first question. And my second question is, your son, your student, your resident that might be in the prison system, he needs to have a man conversation. MAN. Every
Right.
male needs to have a man conversation, Michelle. So somebody might say, Baron, what do you mean by that? And I would say, I'm happy you asked, because if your 13, 14-year-old son doesn't have a man, meaning man of integrity, in his life to talk to, he's going to be lost. He
Hmm.
needs to touch, see, and feel a man of integrity. He needs to
Hmm.
see a man interacting with a woman. He needs to
Hmm.
see a man dressing for success. He needs to see a man having fun without using a bunch of profanity. A
Mm.
male needs to see that. And once he sees that, he'll be able to say, wow, it's okay to be smart. It's okay to treat women with respect. It's
Hmm.
okay to get up and go to work and be early. He needs to see that. And once he
Right.
sees that, then you know he's off. He's gonna put on the red shirt like Mr. Warren, and he's gonna be
Right.
on fire. So
Right.
that's the biggest challenge, is to getting parents, principals, and staff members in the prisons to understand. Yes, your male may be struggling, so he needs to have a man conversation.
Hmm. Hmm. That's good. That's good. So that addresses the youth, but I'm sure on your journeys and on the platforms that you speak on and the institutions that you go into and the organizations and even in some households, um, you've had to encounter and help some older males. And so do
Yes.
you find that that's a greater challenge, or are they receptive to receiving the help from you?
Yes, well, and now that's interesting. So, just to give you an idea, Miss Michelle, you can take a field trip with me.
Yes, I
Typically,
can.
when I go inside the prison system, I'm 35 years old, Miss Michelle, and oftentimes more than half of the men I speak to are older than me, believe it or not.
Hmm.
So, of course, you know, just a man thing, you know, that always is kind of a, let me see what this young guy is talking about.
Right.
So that's always that dilemma there. And then once I build that trust, they get to responding to me and telling me their biggest problems. And a big problem for adult males is that they just don't feel like they're good enough, and they haven't discovered their purpose in life.
Mm-hmm.
Inside the prison system, I was just telling my older brother about this a few weeks ago. We was having a conversation. I said, big bro, it hurts my heart that a lot of men leaving the prison system are scared when they leave. You would think they would be running out the prison system, right,
Right.
Michelle? A lot of them don't run out. They say that, but they are fearful of not
Mm-hmm.
getting a job, not being qualified, not being a good husband. They are very fearful. So I
Mm-hmm.
try my very best, Michelle, to remove that fear. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
God said we are the pastor, protectors, and providers of our home. That's what He
Speak.
has equipped us to be. So there's no
Right.
need to be scared. You just need to get better at it. So,
Mm-hmm.
and how do you get better at it? You practice. So that being the case, I know that was a long answer, Michelle, but the adult
No, no,
male,
that was good. That was good. That was
yeah,
very detailed.
we got to get
Yeah.
them to remove that fear and understand you are equipped to be the pastor, protector, and provider of your home.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And only through practice can you make that permanent, right? Not
That's
perfect, but
right.
permanent. Right.
That's right.
And so,
Absolutely.
I know some of the fear lies in not being able to provide for, many of them have left significant others or spouses on the outside. And I know they're dealing with that. I've left them out there, just, unsupported. And so, what would you say, or what would you speak to the spouse, the woman that they be supporting, on how she can support him when he comes out, rather than like add fuel to the fire because of her own frustration?
Oh, Miss Michelle, now you know I'm gonna be very careful with my words right here. I'm gonna be
Right.
very careful. I'm gonna be passionate, but I'm gonna be careful.
Well, they
So,
need guidance.
absolutely, absolutely. So, for all the beautiful, strong, intelligent, supportive women that are watching today, whether you are a wife, whether you are a mother who is trying to support the man in your life, the best thing a woman can do, and I want everyone to hear this, the best thing a woman can do for a man is to respectfully hold him accountable. Miss Michelle, that's the
And what does
best.
that look like?
Absolutely. So, for example, when I was coming up, Michelle, I'm gonna take you through a couple of series. When I was 13 or 14, coming up, and I was in my mother home, she didn't. We had a beautiful home, but she didn't treat it as the Ritz Carlton. It was never the Ritz Carlton, and what I mean by that is she was always finding me something to do. Hey, Baron, go wash those dishes. Hey, Baron, rake those leaves. Hey, get up. It's time for you to get up and go to school. It was never just cushy at my mother's house because she
Right.
was making me responsible, right? She did it in
Right.
love. She was firm, but that's from a mother to a son.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so moving forward. So that being the case, if you have a husband or a brother who's an adult man now, and you want to support him, you respectfully hold him accountable. Hey, brother, husband, hey, did you apply for that job today? I encourage you. I'm supporting you. I'm going to be there for you. There's a fine line between supporting someone, Miss Michelle, and then babying him. No man
Right.
should be babied. No man should be crippled. You should
Right.
be respectfully hold him accountable. Hey, you're the head of this home, and I'm encouraging you to lead this family to greatness, husband.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm encouraging you to go out there and get that job. I'm encouraging
Right.
you, and I'm going to be there to support you, not to baby you, not to
Right.
always clean up your mess, not to
Right.
always hold your hand and cry for you. I'm being a little passionate now, Miss Michelle, but
Right.
I'm going to be there to support you respectfully. Again, for the women watching, the best thing a woman can do for a man is to respectfully hold him
Mm-hmm.
accountable as a man and as a man of his word.
Right. Thank you so much. And that was very insightful for those ladies that are tuning in. Share this, with your friends, with your mothers, with those that have those men in their lives that are, trying to get their lives back on track. This is a great aid and resources that they can use to aid them in bringing their family together rather than tearing it apart. And so what are
Can I
some
add
of the,
one last thing too, Michelle? One
you
last
sure
thing
can.
regarding that point, because I know I was a little passionate about that. And I want the viewers to hear this part too. There's some good news behind that. Let me tell you
Right,
something. When Michelle, when you got a good woman in your corner, oh, we winning. We we feel like Superman.
right,
Any times and I'm a strong, secure man now, but when even my daughters, Michelle, when my
right.
daughters are encouraging me, oh, I feel like Superman. When my
You can
mother
take
calls
on
and
the
say,
world.
"Oh, Baron, you can do it. I'm happy for you." Oh, I feel like Superman. When you and I talk, Michelle, and you say, "Baron, I'm proud of you. Stay encouraged. You can do it." Anytime
Right,
a man, hear my heart, ladies. Anytime a man hears a strong woman say, "Hey, you can do it," oh, that's music to our ears. We will be able to
well,
go out there and chase the world. But it's very
right.
important that a woman says that and not baby him. Don't baby him,
Yeah.
but just encourage him.
So take note, take notes. If you're not taking notes, take note of this. If you don't remember anything else, remember that.
I got a feeling I'm
So,
gonna get some emails and some text messages off that one.
well, you just might, you just might. So what are some of the challenges, Baron, that you encounter on a daily basis? Like, not just because of the COVID, like we're going into the holidays and those are stressful times of the year anyway. Men may feel pressure to buy gifts, and men may feel pressure to do so much more than what they normally do, for their households because they are the protector, the provider, and, the defender of the home. So what would you say to those men that are trying to reestablish themselves and get back on their feet, especially with the holidays?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Michelle, and I want to drive that point home again for all the males making that transition to manhood, that pastor, protector, and provider role, as all of us have. God has given us those roles. So here's my belief, Michelle, and I want to be very careful what I'm about to say. There's no magic wand, so to speak, walking this earth as a man. Even
Right,
God has told us in His Word, it's going to be trials and tribulations, right?
right.
But here's what I believe, and I want all the men out there watching this to hear this. God is going to honor your efforts. God is going to
Mm,
honor you trying your best. He's going to honor that. Now, Mr. Warren is not saying you about to go get a six-figure job tomorrow necessarily.
right.
I'm not saying that necessarily, but give God a try and watch Him wow you. Give Him a
Mm-hmm,
try. Really seek His presence, seek a relationship with Him, and let Him order your steps. So,
mm-hmm.
as the good book say, faith without works is dead,
Well,
right?
is dead.
So it's great to have that faith. Let's go to church.
Mm-hmm,
Let's get in your Bible. Let's be around good, godly men. But behind
mm-hmm.
that, you got to put just as much work behind that faith.
Well,
So somebody might say, "Well, Baron, what's an example of that? Maybe I just got out of prison. Maybe I wasn't in prison. I just been having a tough time during COVID with providing for my family. This is what I
right.
mean by that. I mean by here's an example. You get in God's presence every single morning, and you say, Lord, you have called me to lead my family.
Mm-hmm,
I'm going to apply for 10 jobs today, and I'm going to believe you're going to give me one. I'm going to
mm-hmm,
submit 10 proposals today, Lord, and I'm going to believe you're going to give me one. I'm claiming it.
mm-hmm.
I believe it. I'm qualified to cut grass, to paint, to weld. You have given me something valuable that I can go out here and make a living for my family. And I
Right,
know you have.
right,
So I'm
right,
trusting you're going to give me an opportunity, and I'm going to give you all the glory in Jesus' name.
right.
That's how you lead
Well,
as a man.
well. And that hard work will be rewarded. And so for those
Absolutely.
tuning in, I want to encourage you, if you have questions, ask them, post them in the comments for your opportunity to win a free book, The 5 Steps to Manhood. And this is a tool that is needed and necessary in homes. Statistically, in the African American community, it is often a one parent home with one parent incarcerated. And I speak from personal experience, never thought that I would go down that path. of becoming one of those statistics. When my daughter was 12, I became that statistics, the one parent household, one parent incarcerated. And I made up in my mind that my daughter was not going to suffer, because of that. Now she suffered because she no longer had her father, that role model in the picture. But she didn't suffer any other way. She suffered because she didn't have his guidance, and I ended up relocating to have my father and some other male role models in another state in her life. But I just wanted to say that to stress the importance that life happens. And just because you
Yes.
become a statistic doesn't mean you have to stay there. And so I
Right.
implore you, I encourage you, we have to, Mr. Warren Barron right here, use him as a resource. Reach out to him if you have a family member, a friend, or a loved one that are encountering some of the things that Barron has shared here today. So just, reach out, ask any question you may have, and grab this free tool that will help you to not only end 2020 strong, but begin 2021 even stronger. And so,
Absolutely.
Barron, I just had to share that. And so,
Oh, so well said. Thank you. So well
So
said.
all of the accomplishments that you've had to date, I mean, you've had the opportunity to get testimonials from some of the elite in the entertainment industry, and those that are, before the public and have some stature and some stay. So what is next for Barron? Like, what is your vision going forward? What do you want to do? How many men do you want to reach? How many homes do you want to impact? And how are you going to get there?
Oh, that's so great, Michelle, and thank you for acknowledging that. And I'm just so thankful where God has really taken this ministry, my business. I'm just thankful for that. So, what's next for Mr. Warren? I tell you, for all the viewers who are watching, if you haven't noticed yet, I just love talking and speaking life to people. I really do, and I have to be honest. This is me pouring my heart out to you and the viewers. It touched my heart a little bit when COVID happened and I wasn't able to get back into the schools and prisons like I used to.
Right,
So I think my
right,
last time I was in a prison speaking was back in March, and I
right.
spoke a lot in February for Black History Month. And that's typically, Michelle, what I do all year long, schools and prisons. I'm in one of the two. So
Mhm.
since I wasn't able to do that, Miss Michelle, I feel like that the brothers are missing Mr. Warren, and I want to get back to them. I had a
Right.
director from Nebraska because I couldn't get to him because of COVID. He bought 90 copies of my book just to share with the
Mhm.
men in his prisons. So, and I'm
Mhm.
so thankful for that. But again, like I said earlier, Michelle, men, especially the ones behind the wall, they need to touch, see, and feel a man of integrity. So when this is all cleared up next year, I'm gonna be back on the tour, Miss Michelle.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be.
Mhm.
You're gonna see Mr. Warren at every school in the area. You're gonna see me at the prisons. You're gonna see me at
Right.
Burger King talking to some men in need. I don't care if you know a man
Right.
in need and Mr. Warren is in your area. Bring him to Burger King. We will have some cuts and coaching and a Whopper to go
Right.
with it. Okay.
Well, well, well. Cuts and coaching in a Whopper. That sounds like a plan. So, Mr. Barron, what has been, I guess, the secret to your success?
Hmm. Secrets. You know, although I have my moments when I get a little exhausted, Miss Michelle, I really believe my secret, which is one of the steps in the book, is I've discovered my calling in life. Miss Michelle, I can say
Mhm.
that with confidence, no arrogance, just confidence. I really believe God has called me to inspire this specific population. So,
Mhm.
for all the viewers that are watching, male or female, once you discover your calling, you become Superman. You become
Mhm.
Superwoman. I don't tap into too many other things outside of speaking, coaching, and being an author. Those are the three things
Right.
I wake up every morning doing,
Right.
and I'm the expert in that area. So that
Mhm.
being the case, Miss Michelle, I get up and I put on this red shirt every morning because I'm Superman. And I want
Well,
the men that are watching this program today, I want you to know it's no secret. You can be Superman too. once you find out what you've been called to do with your life. Once you find
Right.
out what your calling is, you become unstoppable. Baron Warren is
Right.
unstoppable in
Right.
Jesus' name. So
Right.
that's the secret, Michelle. That's not a secret that every man and woman has the opportunity to tap into. Discover your calling and watch God
Right.
wow you.
Well, and I love the symbolism, with the red, because I wear red as one of my signature colors because it represents power and strength. And so I love that you have that same mindset. You may speak it differently, but it's the same thing. And so,
Absolutely.
wow, discover your calling, discover your purpose, and watch God wow you. That really resonated with me. And
Absolutely.
so, what has been one of your most defining moments?
One of my most defining moments. I tell you, I was overwhelmed with joy, beyond words, just totally wowed by God when I got offered to go speak in London, England. Miss Michelle, this was last year. I had already had plans to go there because I had never been. I like to travel internationally. But I
Right.
actually got a phone call from a juvenile facility over in the UK. And I was just
Okay.
moved. I get a little emotional thinking about it now because when I think about how my life was as a teenager and the poor decisions I've made to God bringing
Mm-hmm.
me to this place where people across the Atlantic Ocean are asking for my area of expertise, asking me for what I can be of value of. And I was just wowed by
Mm-hmm.
that, Miss Michelle. So I flew over to London, England, stayed a whole week for a pleasure, but I spent one day at a juvenile facility, Warrington, in
Mm-hmm.
the city of Warrington, and I was able to pour into young men in the UK the entire day, and I was just moved. They were moved. The staff was moved. It was fantastic.
Was there any one of the juveniles that you spoke to that stood out to you, and what was that like? What was that experience like?
Yeah, they did. I've learned in my travels, especially in the prison system, different areas, different geographical areas have different problems. So I
Mm-hmm.
learned very quickly, and some of your viewers can probably do a little bit of research on it. In the UK, they have a big stabbing problem, Miss Michelle. They don't do a lot of guns and shooting like we do, unfortunately, here in the States. Their crimes are a lot of stabbings. They have a big problem with stabbings. So it was a couple of young men actually who were incarcerated for that. And after I spoken to them, and after I shared my 5 steps with them, and after I showed them the love of Christ, they made a promise to
Mm-hmm.
me that they were going to put that life away. They wasn't going to operate like that anymore. They still was unsure what they was going to do with their life, but they knew they wasn't going to be physically harming anyone anymore.
Right.
And I
Right.
believe that, Miss Michelle. I
Right.
really did at that moment. So I'm praying for those guys, but I would never forget those young men who made a promise to me over there in
Right.
the UK that say, "Hey, Mr. Warren, we understand the value of life," and I was
Right.
making poor decisions doing that, and I'm not going to do that again because I want to be a man of integrity.
Now I know you can't possibly follow up with all of the men that you speak to, but have you kept up or kind of followed up with those two young men since it was, so far away over in the UK, just to kind of check in and see how they're doing?
You know what? I have contacted with the staff, and
Okay.
they have given me some feedback. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, those particular 2 young men are out of prison now,
Okay.
so they were kind of
Um,
headed on their way out. But just to answer your question in a broader sense too, I do my very best to do a lot of writing. People that are incarcerated, staff members are always, all the time, emailing me, "Hey, Mr. Warren, your book. They're using your book in training. They want you to come back. These people are doing well." Every blue moon, I do get a couple of emails, Miss Michelle. Unfortunately, people are not doing so well. But
right.
I will say, to God be the glory, the vast majority people have made a turnaround with their lives. So I'm just so thankful to have been a part of that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So I know that you've done a tremendous work here, especially within your community. That's where it started. And
Yes.
so what is your goal do you have a number as far as the number of men that you want to reach? And do you want to reach every state? Are you targeting certain states, or are you just going wherever the need is, wherever you see the need and you reached out to?
That's a great question. So I'll answer it this way. This brand that you see right there, that Cuts and Coaching logo,
Mm-hmm.
Miss Michelle, I have
Mm-hmm.
a vision and I believe God is going to bring it to pass. I want to, because for the viewers who don't know, I don't have a brick and mortar. I'm a mobile guy. You know, I go inside the
Right.
schools and prisons and I bring a team with me. So I'm mobile. But I have a
Mm-hmm.
vision. I want to have a Cuts and Coaching center, one side be the barbershop and the other side be the coaching and the counseling. I want to have a brick and mortar in several major cities, starting here in the city of Detroit, my hometown, because I
Okay.
believe that will be very impactful for the
Right.
world. I see the
Right.
value in Cuts and Coaching. I see the value in young men having a place where he can be groomed physically and emotionally and spiritually. So, all
Mm-hmm.
the viewers who are watching, pray for Mr. Warren, pray for Cuts and Coaching, because I want to have a Cuts and Coaching center in Detroit, in Chicago, in Atlanta,
Well,
in Los Angeles. You know, every community needs a Cuts and Coaching, and I want to provide that.
well, we are in agreement with you, and where any two or more touch and agree.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I got
So
the
I know
faith,
that
Miss
you can't.
Michelle. I'm gonna do the work behind it. I got the faith, so I'm
Well,
gonna do the
well,
work.
well. And so I know that you can't give away, of course, all 5 steps, but can you share with us one or two tidbits that are included within those 5 steps to manhood?
Absolutely, and I'll be real brief just so the viewers can hear it. Choose to be a man. Discover your calling for your life. Be a lifelong learner. Delight yourself in responsibility. And number 5 is help another male become a man. So I
Mm,
know all the viewers who are watching go run out and get that book. But if I can tell you my favorite one, uh, uh, Miss Michelle, it's got to be number 1. The book could have almost been called The One Step to Manhood, because
right.
choosing to be a man, step number 1,
Mm-hmm.
choosing to live a life of integrity, choosing to
Mm-hmm.
be honest, choosing to
Mm-hmm.
be dependable, choosing to be a good father, choosing
Mm-hmm.
to wear a belt and pull your pants up. Hello?
Well,
Choosing those things. You know, if you just those few things I just mentioned, Michelle, if a male choose those things, he is officially a man. You don't need a degree to be a man. You don't need $1 million to be a man. Only thing you have to
right.
do is get up in the morning and say, as the Bible says, when I was a boy, I spoke as a boy, I understood as a boy, but when I became a man, when I
Yes.
made a conscious decision to be a man, I put away childish things. So
Mm.
that's what it's about for all the males out there listening. If you don't get nothing else from this conversation, even if you don't buy the
Well,
book, get up tomorrow and say, you know what? Tomorrow, yesterday was yesterday. Whatever I did wrong, that was in the past. But today, I'm going to choose to be a man of integrity.
mm-hmm. I love that. And so for those that are listening in, I know that this has impacted you. If you have a comment, drop it in the comment line for an opportunity to receive your free copy of the 5 Steps to Manhood, and share this video to receive an inspirational hoodie that says adapt and overcome, because that's what we need during this time. We need hope, to continue to adapt and overcome. And we need the steps to help our loved ones, our youth, the leaders of our home that maybe have a challenge and need some guidance. So the 5 steps to manhood. And so, Baron, what is something that you can share with our listening audience, for that male that's tuning in, or that woman that's tuning in, that wants to know how to help her brother or her son or her husband, what is a takeaway and what is a call to action that you would challenge and charge them with today?
Well, I would say, if I can answer that question again directly to the males making that transition to manhood, all ages. This goes for all males, 13 years old, 33 years old, all of them. Um, your life is on the line right now, sir. And what do somebody might say, Mr. Warren? What do you mean by that? What I'm meaning by that is that you don't want to take all your gifts and talents to the graveyard. There is
Mm,
something inside of you that the world needs, and you will be doing yourself a disservice if you don't tap into that gift and give it back to the world, or if you leave this earth without maximizing your potential. So, that
mm-hmm,
being the case, I want every single male that's listening right now, you have something that the world needs. You have a gift of some sort that will be valuable to the community. It might be with your hands, it might be with speaking. You might be a good looking guy. You might be able to move people by your charisma or your beauty, whatever the case may be, as long as you do it
right,
with integrity, you know.
right.
So I say that to say, for any male who is watching this today and may be feeling a little low and maybe feeling like they don't have nothing to offer, that's a lie. God has given you something to offer your society. Find out
Mm-hmm,
what it is and do it like your life depended on it. If you good at cutting grass, Miss Michelle, cut grass like your life depended on it. If you good
right.
at painting and drywalling, drywall like your life depended on it and take care of your family. So for all the men out there, find out what your gift is, tap into it, become the expert at something. Become the
Mm-hmm.
expert at something, and watch you be a pillar to your society.
Well, I love that. I love that. I love that. And something my mom has always shared with me, and it just kind of stuck with me. And she posed this question, what do you have in your hand? You
Yeah,
know, we always look at what we don't have, but what do you have in your hand? And so
that's
I
right.
really love that. That's just something that dropped to my heart as I was listening to you share with um, our listening audience. And so that would be a takeaway. But what would be the call to action that you would charge them to do?
Let's see what that call to action is. That word that I've been using 27 times since we've been on this program. That call to action is priding yourself to be a man of integrity. That's my
Mm,
call to action for all the men out there. Hey, listen, guys, the world has enough of men who don't value being men of integrity. The world has enough of dishonest men, womanizing men, abusive men. The world has enough of
mm,
that. How awesome would it be if, when you walk in a barbershop, the barbers, the women there, the young men there see a man of integrity? You know what? I heard a young lady told me one time. She said, "Mr. Warren, can you take my son to the barber shop?" And I said, Why is that?" Yeah, I definitely could take him. What's the problem? She said, I'm tired of going in the barber shop and I get hit on. And they cussing
mm.
around me and my child, and they being irresponsible. Don't they know it's a woman in the barber shop? And I just
Right.
touched my heart, Miss Michelle. How unfortunate it is that a lot of single mothers are not comfortable taking their son to the barbershop. How awesome
Hmm.
would it be if a mother would take her son to the barbershop and she would be secure to know that her son is around a lot of bold, strong men of integrity? How awesome would
Hmm.
that be? Oh, wow, that would be
Well,
awesome. You know,
well,
so
well.
I'm challenging respectfully all the males out there. Let's show the world that we are men of integrity. Let's show them that we're honest. Let's show them that we have something to offer. Let's show them that we're going to build up our community instead of tearing it down. Let's make the news and say, hey, this month there was no crime in this area. There was no murders. There were a lot of men just being men of integrity. We have the power to do that, man. So that's my challenge to all the males out there. Wake up tomorrow and say, hey, I'm going to be a man of integrity.
Well, and there you have it. You've been given the charge, you've been given the challenge. All you need to do is execute. And so, other than your website, which is listed below, it's streaming across the video, how else can someone reach out to you if they wanted to reach out to you directly?
Oh, absolutely. So, as the viewers may see there, you reach out to me at baronwarren.com or my company website, which is cutsandcoaching.com. So either one of those would get to me. But I tell you what, Miss Michelle, Baron Warren is a real guy. You can find me on Facebook. So if you
Right.
if you call me at 2 o'clock in the morning and you say, Mr. Warren, this is Mrs. Smith, I need you to talk to my son. Baron Warren is going to get out the bed. And I'm going to talk to him, because that's how serious it is that your son has a man conversation with a man of integrity. So you can find me.
Awesome. So you guys have heard Mr. Warren say straight from his mouth. You can reach him at baronwarren.com, cutsandcoaching.com. You can find him on Facebook. If you call him at 2 or 3 in the morning, he's going to get up and he's going to answer the call, because he's serious about the charge that he's been given. And with that kind of passion and the experience and the expertise to go along with it, you know that change will come. So make sure that you reach out if you need some assistance. I just wanted to say to you personally, Mr. Barron, that I have been enriched today. I have been given even more tools that I can share with those that cross my path. I want to thank you so much for sharing this time with us and adding such value. I want to also just kind of recap some of the things that resonated with me. With the first and foremost being, you said hard work is rewarded. And so don't be afraid of hard work, and do not enable your men, ladies. Don't enable them, don't baby them, but respectfully support them and charge them, to hold them accountable to being in the rightful positions that they were created to hold, to pastor, to protect, and to provide. And then one of the other things that resonated with me was you said, seek God for your vision and watch him wow you. So for those men that are tuning in, that are listening in, and you're feeling discouraged, after listening to Mr. Barron today, you should be filled to the overflow with hope. You've been provided help, and now you can begin the journey to healing so that you can stand in the position that you've been called to stand in. And so unless you have any parting words, Mr. Barron, do you have any parting words?
Man, go out there and be the pastor, protector, and provider of your home. Your children are dependent on you. Your wife is dependent on you. Your mother is dependent on you. God has called us to lead our families and communities to greatness, and you are the man for the job. Now go be great, man.
Awesome. So thank you all so much for tuning in to another second segment of Michelle Speaks. If you hide it, you can't heal it, with our very special guest, Mr. Baron Warren, author of The 5 Steps to Manhood, creator of Cuts and Coaching, and a phenomenal force in this world to help men rise to their rightful position. So we will see you next time. Take care. Be well. God bless.
Bye-bye.